Welcome you all to Believers IAS Academy, and in this today's topic, we will be starting with a new series, especially to discuss the species in news, which are absolutely important from the examination point of view. And if you have analyzed the PYQs time and again, or at least every year, there are at least about two questions which directly come from the species which were in news from last 1 to 1.5 years. So the main agenda of this particular video series is to ensure that on a daily basis we discuss at least three species which are in news, so that this would make sure that you have an holistic idea about all those important species which are in news, so that if it comes down in the prelims examination, you have a very high chances to make sure that you get them correct, because in a year a lot of species come in the news, and it is highly impossible that in the last leg of the preparation, especially the last 2 to 3 months, which is absolutely important for the aspirants to be revising, that will be the time when they actually think about memorizing or mugging up some of the important species which will not serve the purpose. So hence, on a daily basis or time and again, whenever there is something in the news of any species, we will ensure that we will keep updating this series of the species in news. So please make sure that you stay tuned and keep watching the further lectures also. So today's first species that we will be discussing is Channa nachi. So it is also called as the snakehead fish, but you have to understand that this is not a kind of a snake, but this is a fish. And another important feature or characteristics of this species is that it was considered to be extinct. It was considered to be extinct almost 90 years ago, and it is also thought that few of the researchers think that this was a rediscovery. It was rediscovered, and few of the other researchers or people classify this as a new discovery in itself. So however, this is examination from the point of view of the prelims examination, it is important we will understand. Channa nachi is a newly identified species of a snakehead fish. Now, talking about its habitat, some of the core characteristic features. It is found in the shallow, slow-moving stream near Chokpot village, especially in the Meghalaya region, which drains into the Simsang river system. So this becomes important. It is found in the Meghalaya region. The stream's sandy bed, leaf litter, and pebbles create a perfect environment for lesser known aquatic species. Means this is the habitat on which this Channa nachi, right, thrives. So the scientific name is Channa amphibius, which is also important to keep in mind. But in general, from the examination point of view, it is important that it was discovered in the Meghalaya region, and the habitat is pretty much like a fish, where it usually prefers streams, sandy bed, leaf litter, and pebbles, which creates a perfect ecosystem for them to thrive. Now, talking about the biodiversity hotspot, this habitat also supports other freshwater species like Schistura reticulofasciata, Daryocajal, Pseudolacca juvia special, and Barilius pendilis. Of course, these names are very tricky to remember. Also, keep in mind that these important, or let's say tricky terminologies, although you do not know how to pronounce, right, although it is very difficult to pronounce them, at least have some idea that few keywords, especially reticulofasciata, Daryocajal, right, Pseudolacca sp, Barillus, it's all somewhere related to the Channa nachi. If that much is clear, at least you will be able to solve this. So this is one of the important feature. Then talking about the main features, the characteristic features of the species Channa nachi, the Channa amphibius. It is medium-sized snakehead species with a distinct bicolor body. So this is one of the unique feature. It has a bicolor body. The slender build with creamish yellow to grayish blue shades. So this is also another characteristic feature with in terms of the body build and the color. And then it has a unique pale blue marbling on the ventral area, right, this one, and then 10 to 12 pale brown saddles on the dorsal half. So now if you see, these are the characteristic features, in fact the unique characteristic features, which is with respect to this Channa nachi species, which becomes important, and it lacks spots, blotches, or transverse markings on the caudal fin. So this is also important. Moving forward, the Indian tiger, or also called as the Panthera tigris, this is the scientific name. So, of course, Indian tiger, it is in news very frequently, and very recently, the Sundarbans is also in news for the fact that the government is planning to extend the Sundarbans. The area of Sundarban is being planned to extend to ensure or to give more habitat for the Indian, the Bengal tigers, which are in news. Of course, we have to even try and understand more about this species also. If there is a question from the Indian tiger, it should not be surprised, because it is there because of the constant news which we study about the Indian tiger in the newspaper. Now, talking about the Panthera tigris, so that is the scientific name. So it is also known as the Bengal tiger, and it is the most numerous tiger species in the world, very common, and it is found primarily in the small populations, especially in the areas of Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and Myanmar. And another important thing to keep in mind, that it is India's national animal and was declared as a national animal in the year 1973. Of course, a lot of important events has happened in 1973. Another important thing is the Keshwananda Bharati case. So you can probably relate that and remember this as well, which symbolizes strength and biodiversity. Now, talking about the habitat feature of the Indian tiger, it is mostly found in diverse ecosystems. So there is no one unique ecosystem or a category or a pattern of ecosystem on which this tiger thrives, but it thrives, or it lives in various diverse ecosystems, starting from the mangroves, which is here as the Sundarbans, and then it can also thrive in tropical and subtropical forests, also in grasslands, and even in temperate forests of the Himalayan foothills. And one key feature or important fact with respect to Sundarbans, you have to keep in mind that Sundarban Tiger Reserve is the only tiger reserve in the entire world where tiger population has adapted to live in the mangroves. So that is also one key unique feature of the Sundarbans, which is important. Then India hosts 70% of the global Bengal tiger population, so this is also important. Now, talking about the conservation status, according to the IUCN Red List, it is endangered. The tiger, falls under the endangered category, and according to the CITES, it comes under the Appendix 1, which means trade is absolutely prohibited in terms of anything, any products of, or let's say anything related to Indian tiger. The trade is absolutely prohibited, and I think it is pretty much evident with respect to the recent arrests of all those celebrities and important personals who used to fashion tiger claw as a pendant, right? So when majority of the people were booked under the Wildlife Protection Act, right? So that is the point of this, which states that it comes under the Appendix 1 of CITES, which clearly states trade is prohibited in terms of anything and everything related to tiger. And Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, under which the Schedule 1 species, it categorizes, or it says that this needs, the Indian tiger needs or must be given maximum protection. Next, conservation efforts. What are the different conservation efforts taken care by the Indian government? First is the Project Tiger in the year 1973, which is a flagship initiative to Project Tiger, to protect tiger habitats. Then talking about another conservation program, it is the National Tiger Conservation Authority, followed by, we have many tiger reserves, as many as 54 under the Project Tiger, and then we have Campa and eco-sensitive zones, which we have classified for habitat restoration and protection. So this is with respect to Indian tiger. Of course, we missed one point. The IUCN status of the Channa amphibia is critically endangered. So this we did not mention, so it falls under the critically endangered category. Moving forward, the last species of today's video, the Karai camel. So the Karai camel, as you can see, it is a camel which has adapted itself to live in the waters also, especially talking of waters, I'm talking about the mangroves. So the Karai camel, it is indigenous to Gujarat, especially the Kutch area of Gujarat, which gets its name from the local word khara. Khara means saline. So hence the name has been derived based on the nature in which this particular camel thrives. So hence it is called as Karai camel or the saline camel, reflecting a unique adaptation to both desert and coastal ecosystems. Now, it is known for its race swimming ability. It can cover up to 3 kilometers in deep waters to graze on mangrove vegetation. So this is also another important unique feature which makes this camel pretty much okay to survive in both desert and also the water, right? Because of its rare swimming ability. And because of its rare swimming ability, it has also been called as Dariyataru. It is also another name for sea swimmers and have adaptations like webbed feet to survive in the brackish coastal habitat. And another important feature to keep in mind, important point, is with respect to its traditional heritage, traditional value, where it has been preserved for over 400 years, especially by the Rabari and Fakirani Jat tribes of the Kutch, and also been used by famous Maldari groups of the Karai region or the Kutch region. In fact, they are the ones who also use them as livestock. Now, talking about the IUCN Red List, it is classified under as endangered. Now, talking about the unique features, it has dual habitat adaptability, which means it can thrive both in lands and saline coastal zones. And also another unique feature of this camel is its very nature of the milk, which is very nutrient rich, which contains therapeutic antibodies similar to human milk, making it easily digestible and beneficial for immunity and health. So this is all for this particular video of species, where we discussed three important species: the Karai camel, the Indian tiger, and the first one, the Channa Nachi. So even before we end the video, let's solve one prelims question from the Karai camel topic. It goes, it is indigenous to the coastal regions of Gujarat and is adapted to both desert and saline ecosystems. It is only camel breed in India known to swim in the sea to graze on mangroves. Its milk contains antibodies similar to those in human milk, making it easily digestible and beneficial for humanity. So these are the statements. Use the the comment section to leave your correct answer. And that's all for this particular video. Stay tuned. We will be coming up with more such interesting videos and more such important species which are in news. Until then, goodbye, and signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a beautiful day.